The old mansion stood on a hill overlooking the town. Its silhouette was a dark, looming figure against the twilight sky, casting long shadows that seemed to stretch out and touch the very edges of the town below. The mansion had an air of mystery, a sense of foreboding that made the townsfolk uneasy. A shroud of fog clung to its crumbling stone walls, swirling and shifting as if alive. The fog seemed to breathe, moving in and out of the cracks and crevices of the ancient stone, giving the mansion an almost ethereal quality. It was as if the house itself was exhaling, releasing the secrets it held within. Vines, thick and gnarled, wrapped around the wrought iron gates, their tendrils creeping up and over the fence like fingers reaching out to ensnare anyone who dared to approach. The gates, once grand and imposing, now stood as a testament to the relentless march of time and nature's reclaiming of what was once hers. The windows, like vacant eyes, stared out blankly. They were dark and empty, yet seemed to hold 1,000 untold stories. Each pane of glass was a portal to the past, reflecting the lives that had once filled the rooms with laughter, sorrow, and everything in between. Now they were merely hollow sockets, watching over a world that had moved on without them. The mansion was a testament to forgotten grandeur, a place where time seemed to stand still. Its once majestic halls and rooms were now filled with dust and decay, the echoes of a bygone era lingering in the air. The grand staircase, once the centerpiece of the home, was now a creaking, unstable structure, leading to rooms that had long been abandoned. An unsettling silence hung in the air, broken only by the rustle of leaves and the caw of distant crows. The silence was thick, almost tangible, wrapping around the mansion like a shroud. It was a silence that spoke of years of neglect, of stories left untold, and of a presence that still lingered within the walls. It was a place whispered about in hushed tones, a place where shadows danced and secrets lingered. The townsfolk spoke of strange lights seen in the windows at night, of whispers carried on the wind, and of a feeling of being watched whenever they ventured too close. The mansion was alive with the memories of those who had once called it home, and perhaps with something more. The mansion had been empty for decades. Its rooms, once filled with the hustle and bustle of daily life, now stood silent and still. The furniture, covered in sheets, looked like ghostly figures frozen in time. The air was thick with dust, and the only sounds were the creaks and groans of the old house settling into its solitude. Locals told tales of a family that had once lived there, a family that had vanished without a trace. They spoke of a mother, father, and 2 children who had moved into the mansion with dreams of a new beginning, only to disappear one stormy night. The townsfolk speculated endlessly about what had happened, but no one knew for sure. The mystery of their disappearance only added to the mansion's eerie allure. Some said the house was cursed, that it feasted on the souls of the living. They believed that the mansion had a life of its own, that it drew people in and never let them go. The stories of strange occurrences, of people who had entered the house and never returned, only fueled these beliefs. The mansion was a place of fear and fascination, a dark legend that loomed over the town. Others claimed it was simply a place of tragedy, forever marked by the sorrow it had witnessed. They spoke of the lives that had been lost, of the dreams that had been shattered within its walls. The mansion was a monument to the pain and suffering of those who had once lived there, a place where the past and present seemed to merge into one. Whatever the truth, the mansion remained a haunting presence, a silent sentinel overlooking the town below. It stood as a reminder of the passage of time, of the stories that had been forgotten, and of the mysteries that still lingered. The mansion was a place of shadows and secrets, a place that would continue to captivate and terrify those who dared to look upon it. The Harper family arrived on a crisp autumn afternoon. The sun was shining brightly, casting a warm glow on the old mansion that stood before them. The leaves crunched under their feet as they walked up the path, their breath visible in the cool air. The mansion, with its towering spires and intricate woodwork, looked like something out of a fairy tale, albeit one that had seen better days. They were filled with hope and excitement, eager to start their new life. The children, Emily and Ethan, laughed as they carried boxes into the house, their voices echoing in the empty rooms. John and Mary exchanged smiles, feeling a sense of accomplishment and anticipation. They had dreamed of this moment for years, and now it was finally here. They had purchased the mansion for a steal, unaware of the darkness that lay within. The previous owners had left in a hurry, leaving behind a house filled with secrets and shadows. The Harpers, however, saw only potential and beauty in the old structure. They were determined to restore it to its former glory, no matter what it took. John, the father, was a historian, captivated by the mansion's past. He spent hours poring over old documents and artifacts, piecing together the history of the house and its previous inhabitants. Each discovery fueled his passion and curiosity, driving him to dig deeper into the mansion's mysterious past. His wife, Mary, was an artist, drawn to its eerie beauty. She set up her easel in one of the dusty, sunlit rooms, capturing the mansion's haunting charm on canvas. The peeling wallpaper, the cracked windows, the overgrown garden, all of it inspired her in ways she had never felt before. Their teenage children, Emily and Ethan, were apprehensive but excited for a fresh start. They explored the house with a mix of curiosity and caution, their imaginations running wild with thoughts of hidden passages and secret rooms. Despite their initial unease, they couldn't help but feel a sense of adventure in their new home. As they crossed the threshold, a chill ran down their spines. The air inside was different, colder, heavier. It was as if the house itself was watching them, waiting to reveal its secrets. The creaking floorboards and the distant sound of dripping water only added to the eerie atmosphere. The air inside was heavy and stagnant, thick with the scent of decay. Dust covered every surface, and cobwebs hung from the ceiling like ghostly curtains. The once grand furniture was now nothing more than decaying relics of a bygone era. It was clear that the house had been abandoned for a long time. Dust motes danced in the faint sunlight filtering through the grimy windows. The light created an almost magical effect, illuminating the room in a soft golden glow. It was a stark contrast to the darkness that seemed to lurk in the corners, waiting to emerge. The house felt cold, unwelcoming. It was as if the walls themselves were whispering secrets, warning the Harpers to leave while they still could. But the family was undeterred, determined to make this house their home. It was as if they had stepped into a tomb. The silence was almost deafening, broken only by the occasional creak of the floorboards. The hallways seemed to stretch on forever, leading to rooms that held untold stories and hidden dangers. Little did they know their new home held secrets that were better left buried. The mansion was more than just a house. It was a living entity with a history that was dark and twisted. As the Harpers began to settle in, they would soon discover that some secrets are meant to stay hidden and some doors should never be opened. The first few days were uneventful. The family busied themselves with unpacking and settling in. But as the days turned into nights, strange things began to happen. They would hear whispers coming from empty rooms, faint murmurs that sent shivers down their spines. Lights flickered and died, plunging the mansion into darkness. Shadows seemed to move in the corners of their eyes, vanishing when they turned to look. John dismissed it as old wiring and creaky floorboards. Mary tried to rationalize the whispers as the wind whistling through the cracks. But Emily and Ethan couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. Something was amiss in the mansion, something sinister that lurked just beyond their perception. Section 4. The Vanished Souls. This is a tale that delves into the heart of darkness, where the line between reality and the supernatural blurs. It all began with an old mansion, standing desolate and forgotten, its walls whispering secrets of a bygone era. John, in his relentless pursuit of the truth, spent countless nights poring over ancient documents and dusty records. His research led him to a chilling discovery that would change everything he thought he knew about the mansion. The house, with its decaying walls and broken windows, had a dark and troubled history. It was more than just a structure. It was a vessel of untold stories and hidden horrors. The previous owners, a wealthy family named Blackwood, had vanished without a trace. Their disappearance was a mystery that had baffled the town for decades, leaving behind only whispers and speculations. The Blackwoods' disappearance was shrouded in mystery, with rumors of foul play and even darker forces at work. Some said the mansion was cursed. Others believed it was haunted by restless spirits. The police had investigated the case thoroughly, but despite their efforts, it had gone cold. No clues, no leads, just an eerie silence that seemed to mock their attempts. John, undeterred by the lack of official answers, delved deeper into the mansion's past. He uncovered strange occurrences that had plagued the Blackwoods, events that defied logical explanation. Servants had reported hearing disembodied voices and seeing ghostly apparitions. The mansion seemed alive with a malevolent presence, its very air thick with dread. There were tales of sudden, inexplicable illnesses and bizarre accidents within the mansion's walls. It was as if the house itself was conspiring against its inhabitants. The Blackwoods had tried to ignore the phenomena, dismissing them as mere coincidences. But the darkness that lurked within the mansion was relentless, slowly consuming their sanity and their lives. As John pieced together the tragic fate of the Blackwoods, a chilling thought crossed his mind. Could the same malevolent force that had destroyed the Blackwoods now be targeting him and his family? The mansion's dark legacy seemed far from over, and John knew he had to uncover the truth before it was too late. Section 5. Terror in the Night. The paranormal activity intensified. One night, Emily awoke to the sound of her name being whispered. She opened her eyes to see a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed. It stared at her with cold, empty eyes before vanishing into thin air. Terrified, Emily screamed for her parents. John and Mary rushed to her room but found nothing. They tried to comfort Emily, but even they couldn't deny the growing sense of dread that had settled over the house. The mansion was no longer a home, it was a prison. They were trapped, hunted by something they couldn't see or understand.